Okay. Hi, my name's Sheldon Livesey. I'm the director for One Accord Ministry, and I want to tell you about a new program or ministry program that we're launching, and it's called Healing Quilt Ministry. And I need to first tell you a little bit of background because back just 5 years ago in 2016, I was diagnosed with something none of us want to hear, and that's the C word. And of course, it was a traumatic time. It would be for anybody. But I have a prayer network that I've been a part of, and I would go to different groups and ask them, let them know what was going on, ask them to pray. And one lady from Churchill, when I was in Kingsport, Margie Harlow, came to me and she said, Sheldon, I want to present you this. And what is it? It's a prayer cloth. And she showed me. She said, I picked this up. I got it when I went to a revival in Ontario, Canada, and those folks said that it raised the dead. Now, I tell you, when you're diagnosed with the C word, that's a good sound to you. So anyway, I've carried this in my coat pocket with me every minute, literally, since that time. About 2 years later, I decided, I'm going to get it out, and I wanted I was showing it to somebody or something, and look at this. All I've done is just carry it in my pocket. But this has become a very special thing to me. Now, do I think that it holds special powers or anything like that? No, I look to God. I put my trust in God. But this is a place it's a kind of a connection of faith, and it also means that there's people that have prayed for me in this. So anyway, that's kind of a backdrop. So we had a lady a few years ago that wanted to bring quilts to us from Florida. And I thought she wanted to give quilts out to the Appalachian folks up here. But one of the things I know about some of our folks is because of the low income status, they would use a quilt until it got dirty and then they would dispose of it because they are used to receiving more of things. And I said, that might not be the best use of quilts that have taken weeks or months to do all the stitching and put together. So I began to pray, Lord, how do we use these things? How can I be, you've entrusted me now with something that has a lot of work in it. How can I be a good steward of these and do them in a way that would be pleasing to you? And it didn't come together. You'd think it should, but listen, I'm simple and a little bit hard-headed maybe sometimes, and I don't hear as well as I should from the Lord sometimes. But over a period of time, God showed me, He got me to thinking about how precious this prayer cloth has become to me, and that these quilts could become healing quilts, and they would be just as precious to those that receive them. So with that, we begin to birth the idea of this. Now in Rogersville, we have a prayer network here. It's folks from different churches that meet together every Monday night and pray. And so we know that every one of these quilts have been prayed over, stitch by stitch by stitch. And this lady brings them up. But now if we pray over them, that will be a second step. So we've come up with a process that we think is better. If I just open these up to anybody and say, come and get a quilt, they'd all be gone. And I don't feel like that's the best way to do it because I want to involve our local churches. So the third step, the first step is she prayed over them. Second step, Monday night prayer group prayed over them. And the third step is we're only going to release them to a church, a local church, and that church prayer group is going to pray over them and then take them to the door of somebody that has some kind of a chronic illness. We feel like if somebody's already on hospice, if they're already stage 4 cancer and only got a couple of weeks to live, that might not be our best option, but we want these to be something that really can impact the lives of people that are fighting chronic diseases and they're praying, God, please help me get better. And we believe that those people are out there, that churches know who they are, the churches can take and present these and pray one last time and then release that quilt to that family and it will become a precious thing to them. This is the lady gave us one quilt that is a wedding quilt, and this is that quilt. And that quilt already has been designated. It's a young couple in Johnson City that has been married. And yes, we are not just making these for Rogersville or Hawkins County, even though we're going to begin by inviting the local Rogersville churches to be a part. But we do have a very short process, and we have what we call an application process. And in that application, the church would come and they would put the person's name and their age, their contact information, so that we at least know where they are, and then the church that's represented and the church members that are going to be taking this to the family. And I want just a very short couple of paragraph description of what's going on with that person, because what I want to do is constantly be thanking the lady that made these, and then we want to let her know this quilt. For instance, we have one young man, he's just a boy, he's 7 years old, and his family just recently found him in the floor unconscious, and he had to be airlifted to Knoxville. And when they got him down there, they found his sugar was 1,000. 7-year-old little boy that's going to have to live with severe diabetes all of his life unless God intervenes. And so we had one of the quilts designated for him. Situations like that we can let this lady know how valuable these quilts have become. Now, we know that these are not going to be enough quilts to take care of all the situations here locally. So we're inviting you. We know that there's folks out there that make 5 quilts a year, that make 6, 10 quilts a year. You're part of a quilting guild. You're part of a quilting club or a church quilting group. And we're inviting you, if you would be willing to tithe 1 quilt a year. And you can bring that quilt to us and donate it, and it will be one that is prayed over and used as one of these healing quilts in the Healing Quilt Ministry. So you can contact the Shepherd Center in downtown Rogersville, Tennessee. That's number is area 423-921-8044. My name is Sheldon Livesey. We would be happy to come and get the quilt. We would receive that quilt graciously from you and add it to these that are going to be part of the Healing Quilt Ministry, a new ministry under of One Accord Ministry.
All these boxes here, these are all
quilts.
The quilts. Now, what was the lady's name that made these?
Her name is Ella Henson, Hella Henson, Hinson.
And where does she live in Florida?
She lives in Florida.
And how did she become aware of One Accord Ministry?
I'm part of a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week national prayer network that started in November of 2015. And every hour of every day, they have a different facilitator, moderator for the hour that prays and leads this group in praying for our nation. First, this lady and her husband came to Gatlinburg, invited me and my wife to go over and meet her, Ella and Rudy, and they went back, didn't think much about it, and she said that she might be back at Christmas and do something special, and she always brings a gift, a monetary gift to the ministry, which is very nice. But here a couple of years ago, she began to bring quilts. I mean, she had a trunk load of these quilts that she had made.
So how many quilts do you have in stock right now, would you say?
I'm not sure.
Is this each of these boxes has a quilt?
All of these boxes, and probably there were probably 20 that's in these boxes that are very small, and they're children's quilts. So I could I see some right here. So, and we're looking really for a good way of getting these children's quilts out, because I know it's easy to find adults with chronic illnesses, but it's less easy to find the children. Let's see.
Wow, that's nice. So she made all of these.
She made all of them.
Okay, look at me real quick. You know the drill. You're a photographer. Okay. Yeah, that was good. I'm guessing. I'm pointing guess. So, wow. I mean, have you had a large response to this?
Wednesday or Monday night was when, or Friday night, last Friday night was the first night that we had the local prayer group pray over these. And we probably had 20 people here praying, but we probably released 15 at that time. So I have the information about those 15 people that are being given to, and this doesn't have to do with income. This has to do with those folks that you and I love, and we've seen some chronic illness hit them, and we believe that something that we've prayed over, and they have that point of contact, that point of faith for a quilt. It lets them know that somebody loves them and somebody's thinking about them every minute that they are sitting on the couch with it on their lap, or if they're laying in bed with it, they're silently, subconsciously receiving those prayers that have been prayed over them. One gentleman that we've just taken one to has been a very valuable person in prison ministry, and was one of the leaders in prison ministry that he would lead and other folks would go with him. Did a tremendous work up there, and he's had some very serious health problems. Just in the last couple of weeks he had to go in for surgery, but he's been so valuable to the folks that he serves, and so one of those was given to him. So those are some of the types of folks, young folks and older folks, but they're people that's a chronic thing. We have there's one or two that have had some type of mental illness, whatever it is that somebody they're a key person in one of the churches, or a key person to a family of somebody in one of the churches, that church family wants to receive a quilt and pray over it and deliver it to be something special to that.
So if a person feels like this would benefit their loved one, should they contact you?
I would prefer them to contact one of our local churches.
Okay. Can you give me which ones that they need to contact?
One of the leading ones that stepped out to begin with was Faith Assembly Church, and it's just because Billy Ray Courtney, the pastor of that church, is on our board of directors, and it's going to be, I believe, East Rogersville Baptist Church, First Baptist Church, I believe the local Methodist Church will be some, because people in those churches are part of the prayer groups. Crossroads Assembly of God Church. I'm trying to think who one or two, I believe those would be the primary ones that we make up our Monday night prayer network.
Okay. Well.